Here is the economic snapshot for Friday, the 10th of April, 2020. As you can see in those first two boxes, a lot of incredibly positive numbers. Those case changes, the UK, the USA, it was only 2 weeks ago that the USA experienced over 600% growth in coronavirus COVID-19 cases. Yes, those numbers have both doubled in the last week. However, they are trending downward. The Australian number is extraordinary. I would not have predicted that. Just 19% growth in total cases over the past week. Now, a couple of things on that. Note that deaths, the middle column, are a lagging indicator. I believe that it can sadly take up to 4 weeks to die from COVID-19 versus 2 weeks to recover. So in Australia, for example, total cases was up only slightly, 19% this week, but deaths doubled because last week, the week before, cases were doubling. So the death is a lagging indicator of those cases. I said once we started to have a few consecutive weeks where the case changes were green, were trending down, then we would flip. So from next week, this metric will change from total cases to active cases. So only those people who we believe still actively have COVID-19. And what we're watching with those numbers then, hopefully, is that those numbers will continue to get lower, and we will actually potentially see in some countries that have had COVID-19 that it will be eradicated or diminished extraordinarily. That, of course, has a positive flow-on effect to some of the other metrics. So the markets are all higher. The Dow Jones in particular is up 10% from last week. Great news if you put money in last week, which I did. I continue to urge caution about this being, the bottom of this market. The COVID-19 numbers are looking good. The government stimulus packages are enormous, but they are also short term. Some of the packages, such as the small business support package in the US, have already run out of money. For economies that were already at the end of the longest ever bull run of growth, to suggest that the economic fallout they're going to experience is solely linked to the virus and the lockdown, that there won't be longer term fundamentals that need correcting, is too optimistic. And so as more economic data is released, I would expect to see those markets drop again. US unemployment is the other change. It went from 3.5% in February to 4.4% in March. That may not seem bad considering, as we've talked about in the economic snapshot the last few weeks, new jobless claims was 3.3 million, a new record. A week later, 6.6 million, smashing that record out of the figure. That 4.4% unemployment figure, though, is only until mid-March. Countries do their unemployment statistics, they do it differently, they're different methodologies, different time periods. Australia, for example, won't have March until the 16th of April. The UK won't give us February's figures until April 21st, which is going to be way, way out of date. The US, by giving us the figures to mid-March, has made it look as though it's not too bad. Expect that number to jump. We're still seeing some predictions of 8.9% for the next set of figures for April, which will include those new jobless claims that we've been talking about. So 4.4%, that's a big jump, almost a full percentage point. Next month, it will jump higher. GDP, we will have, for example, the advanced estimate of the US GDP growth for the March quarter on April 29, so by the end of this month. Those are key for economic indicators for this week.